welcome to the UFC Vegas 49 post show on the ThreePieceCombo MMA Show, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Johnathan, aka 3Piece Combo. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Johan Blanco at Blanco Fights. And you're watching this because you probably just watched Islam Makhachev destroy Bobby Green in the first round. He was able to get it done relatively easy. Bobby Green really didn't stand much of a chance, but all respect to him for making that fight. And now Islam seems to be well on his way to being next in line after Justin Gaethje for that title shot against Charles Oliveira. Now, the rest of the night was a very fun night as well. I mean, in the co-main event, Wellington Turman pulling the fights out of the hat. I mean, he got taken down by Misha Circunov, and off his back, he was able to pull out a beautiful armbar submission that made Circunov tap out immediately. Yeon Kim had an amazing fight, except she was not the winner. She was kind of robbed, in my opinion. Arman Tsarukyan destroying Joel Alvararez's face, splitting him wide open, making him bleed all over the place. And to open the card, it was a fun one. Arman Petrosian over Larry Rodriguez, but there was a couple of controversial decisions, in my opinion, tonight. I do want to give a shout out to Terrence McKinney for getting his first round submission over Faraz Siam. I said he was going to get a first round knockout. He got a first round submission. My bad. I'm sorry. we had Ignacio Bahamondes with a third round submission over Zhurong. That was a really good fight as well. So I want to throw it over to you, Johan, and I want to get right into the main event. Islam Makhachev destroyed Bobby Green. It wasn't really necessarily the damage that got it done. It was just an accumulation of punches getting it on the floor. Bobby seemed fine after. He just wasn't able to get out the dominant position of Islam. Islam started the fight just kind of feeling it out with some kicks, trying to, in my opinion, raise Bobby Green's guard to get him to at least shoot to make the sprawl a little bit better. Bobby was able to keep it standing a little bit, but once he closed the distance, he was able to get that second shot after re-engaging from that first takedown attempt. Able to get the legs down, and from the legs, he was able to get to the mount, get to the back, ground and pound submission, and that was it for Islam Makhachev. He is now on a 10-fight winning streak. Johan, what did you see from this main event from Islam, and what do you think is next for him?
Yeah, pretty easy fight for him. I mean, shout out to Bobby Green. He, all due respect to him, man. He took this fight on 2-week notice, and he did his best. But Islam Makhachev showed why he has the best wrestling in the lightweight division. He started out. It was interesting because he started out measuring Bobby Green, like you said in the beginning. Kind of backing up, kind of shooting early to see where his guard was, where his defense was initially, and then once he kind of found like his tendencies, he started pushing forward, and that's where the fight turned. Once Islam started pushing forward and got Bobby Green, moving backwards, that's when everything turned for him, and it was fairly easy. I mean, once he took him down, if you looked away for a split second, you missed the rest of the fight because Islam was just able to get mount super easily on Bobby Green. And the thing is that, Bobby Green's not a guy that's, easy to finish. I mean, he's only been finished how many times in his career? So it's like, it was so impressive because, yes, it was a short notice fight, but to finish a guy like Bobby Green, who's tough as nails, and to be able to just keep him on the ground, just immobilize him was impressive all in itself. And what's next? There's only one option. He's getting the title fight next. After Gaethje and Oliveira, it's Islam Makhachev.
I think you have a great point there. I think it's hard to deny him now. I do want to touch on what he did tonight. It was very impressive. Now he's on a 10-fight winning streak. And, he was supposed to face Beneil Dariush, and that would have kind of legitimized his contention a little bit more, legitimized his ranking a little bit more, and legitimized his ability to get that title shot a little bit more. So I want to talk about this, and you kind of answered it. Does he deserve this title shot now? Because he defeated Dan Hooker, right? And that was his last win over a highly touted ranked prospect. But he hasn't defeated anyone in the top 4, in that top 3 currently right now. Does he deserve that title shot after beating somebody, with all due respect to Bobby Green, who are, at the bottom of the rankings or not ranked right now currently? Or do you think that he's on a 10-fight winning streak? We all know how good he is. Let's stop denying the man. Let's just give the man what he deserves. Let's give the man what everybody knows. He's the next great fighter. Let's say he does not win the championship, he's going to be a legitimate contender for a very long time. And even if he doesn't win that belt the first time it happens, just for some crazy reason, he's going to get it on the second chance, right? He's going to be able to work his way up and get it there. So do you think Islam deserves that title shot, or do you think he needs to prove himself over a legitimate top 3, top 2 contender before he actually gets that shot?
I definitely think he does. I mean, you could say the same thing about Khabib coming up for the title because there was only one very notable win in his rise up to the title win. That was against Rafael dos Anjos, and that came like years before he was even mentioned in title contention. And remember, he won I mean, granted, this was circumstances, but he won the world title off Al Quinta, who was, I mean, either unranked at the time or he was in the bottom 11 through 15. So he was in the bottom rank. So I'm basing this off of his skill set. I'm basing this off of his win streak, and I'm basing this off of how many times people have declined to fight him. So remember, he's one of the most avoided guys in that lightweight division. I mean, there's been so many people. Michael Chandler has been offered him when debuting. Dan Hooker was offered him. I mean, Rafael dos Anjos was offered him multiple times before they apparently came to an agreement. So it's like you can't deny him now. Like the only way that he doesn't get a title fight is if Conor McGregor says, if Conor McGregor somehow finds his way in the title, which very highly unlikely at this point, but you can't deny him at this point. I mean, he's had so many impressive performances, and that's another thing. It's just his performances are impressive. They're impressive enough to where you can overlook the quality of opponent or the circumstances, and it shows in the record books. It doesn't show like it doesn't show how he won or anything like that. It just says it's a 10-fight winning streak. And honestly, like you can't deny him. Like I said, he's next for the title.
Yeah, he's absolutely next. The skills are all there. The winning streak is there. He has all the tools to become the next champion. Why deny him right now? So I agree with you, man. I think Islam does deserve that shot next. I think there is a potential that Justin Gaethje does take the belt off Charles Oliveira. So we do see, which is a funny, unfortunate matchup maybe for Justin Gaethje, that he's going to have to face Khabib for one fight. And then if he does get the win and does win the belt from Charles Oliveira, now he's going to have to face the prodigy of Khabib in Islam Makhachev. So Islam, all respect to him for getting this fight done. Like you said, doesn't matter what the quality opponent. The only other person to finish Bobby Green inside the UFC was Dustin Poirier. So it's the second time he's been finished inside the UFC in a very long tenured UFC career. So let's get a little bit into that Bobby Green conversation, because he did get that win over Nasrat Haqparast, right? That was kind of more the temperature gauge of where he's at. We know he's not next for title contention. We know he's not a top-ranked contender, but he still has the legitimate skills to probably be or fight for the bottom of those rankings right now. So I want to take a look at maybe some of the rankings for what could be next for Bobby Green, because in the unofficial rankings, they have him roughly around 20, and they have a couple people in his area that's above him. Joel Alvarez was above him. They have somebody like Brad Riddell, Diego Ferreira, Gregor Gillespie. Which one of those do you think would work out best for Bobby Green? And do you think that he should be getting another maybe headline for a fight night, or maybe a co-main event on a card? What do you think he should be at?
So one thing about this fight for Bobby Green is that it really did not hurt his stock. I mean, he was a fan favorite coming in, and he might have gained even more fans coming out of this. I mean, he really didn't show any fear. I mean, in this matchup, like you could tell that he was very comfortable in the cage. It just so happened that Islam Makhachev, and you just can't deny him. Like it's hard to defend any of those takedowns. With that being said, I really do think he deserves a fight night main event. I mean, he's been in this game since 2008. I mean, it just seems like he's just one of those guys that everyone loves. And looking at the rankings, I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, who can, like, if we're trying to get Bobby Green to be in a fight night main event or even a co-main event, I'm looking at it. There's a couple names that come to mind. There's Hanato Morikano, which could be an interesting one. I mean, ever since he's starting to get his groove at 155. He was always kind of too big for featherweight, but I think lightweight is the perfect division for him. That could be an interesting matchup. Both are very good on the feet. Moicano might have the better ground game, but that could be an interesting one. Matthias Gamrot, that could be a good one if he wants to have a main event because he's a big prospect. Coming out of KSW, he might be one of the best homegrown guys from that company. And ever since his loss in his debut, he's been on a roll. And then Gregor Gillespie, he might not have the name value, but I mean, co-main event, I mean, he's the highest ranked. He's the highest ranked out of the three options, and I think that it's an interesting matchup. It would be a striker versus grappler matchup, but those three options are all viable for Bobby Green.
Yeah, he has a couple options there for you as well. I mean, you could even maybe put Islam there as well, or not sorry, Islam, Dan Hooker, right? Because he beat Nasrat Hakparas and he lost against Islam Makhachev, just like the last two fights for Bobby Green. He lost to Islam Makhachev and beat Nasrat Hakparas. So maybe him versus Dan Hooker would be a beautiful matchup. We know Dan Hooker is not afraid of taking those short notice fights, taking those fights there. So he has a little more of name value. So I think maybe him versus Dan Hooker would be a beautiful matchup to see. It would be a beautiful war on the feet. It'd be a very technical battle. Very interesting to see how that would go. But I think that would be next for Bobby Green. Let's move on to that co-main event. We saw Wellington Turman pull out a beautiful armbar submission out of the bag and able to get the win over Misha Circunov, who was seemingly going to or going on to winning that fight, right? He was able to get out of that situation in the first round where Wellington had his back. And then in the second round, he was taking him down, and it just seemed like he got caught in a weird position. And Wellington got a beautiful arm bar, and he had a beautiful angle on an arm, and he just made him tap immediately. What did you see from that fight, or what did you see for him to set up that submission?
Well, it was interesting because, it seemed like Misha Circunov had a really the strength advantage going like in this fight, and it showed like, he was able to easily take down Wellington Turman. But I think what Wellington Turman saw, especially in that last sequence, is that Misha Circunov was overly aggressive with kind of taking him down and also trying to like ground and pound. Like he was not really he was not, I don't know what he was doing, but he was not intelligently like attacking. He was not intelligently like fighting from the top, and he got caught. Like it was a smooth transition, and it was a smooth transition by Wellington Turman. And I think that like I said, like he was just overly aggressive. He was just able to read him really well, and I think that overall it was just an impressive transition from Wellington Turman.
Yeah, I think that this was a much needed victory for him, right? Because we know that he had all the skills, right? He's a decent striker. The submission game is really kind of more his forte, but he needed a marquee win on his career just to kind of get him a little more legitimized, even maybe to himself, right? Just prove that he's able to hang with some of these tough guys. We know Misha Circunov was able to get some wins over guys like Jimmy Crute and prove himself up a weight division. So for Wellington to get this win, I think is very important for his career, and I think it's going to be big for him to continue to move forward, right? He had a couple of losses. He's coming in not a great streak. So you come in, you get a win versus a good name in a co-main event, a big spot. You're able to get a beautiful submission, and I think this is going to do wonders for him. This next fight, I think, was probably one of the best fights of the night. Yeon Kim actually losing that fight. What did you think about that fight, man?
That was a pretty entertaining fight. I wasn't really high on this fight going in. I mean, if we go back to the pre-show, I was talking about these girls both have very little momentum going into this fight, but it ended up being pretty entertaining. Priscilla Cachoeira was the aggressor, I would say, on the feet. But one thing that Jeon Kim did really well is that she was the smarter fighter. Like she was the smarter stand-up fighter. Like she was picking her shots, and she was like patiently waiting for Priscilla Cachoeira to come in. And I really thought Jeon Kim was gonna get that one because she was able to, kind of piece up Priscilla Cachoeira, easily. Priscilla Cachoeira always has that like kind of low guard that's closer to her hips than to her face, and Jeon Kim was kind of exposing that. But it was very interesting. I think because Cachoeira was pressing forward a lot of the time, that the judges saw it in that way, but I really don't understand this decision.
Yeah, this one I really didn't get. I mean, with all due respect, Priscilla had a magnificent performance, right? One of the more entertaining fights of the night, and those elbows that she was just going for at the end, those were just brutal. And she was, it looked like when a video game character is just loading up on the power bar and just holding on to X, and you're just loading up the elbow and just going for the elbow and just continuing to go and do that. I mean, she was getting punched in the face while she was loading up the elbow, and she just didn't really care. She was just like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to throw these elbows anyways, because she knew she wasn't really going to get knocked out. So, she had the power shots, I think, in the end of the round to get it. But, man, as far as the whole fight, Yeon Kim, the striking differential was absolutely insane, right? It was 171 to 102 on total strikes, 170 to 102 on significance. So pretty much the same thing there. But almost a 68 strike differential for Jeon Kim. She was able to land her percentage a little bit better on most of the rounds as well. And I just felt like she was able to be a little more accurate during the fight. So I feel like it was tough to give Priscilla the win. I'm not sure how she was able to get the decision. If you look at kind of just the after of the fight, I mean, Priscilla's face is a lot more swollen. Jeon, she had a little cut from one of those elbows, but outside of that, there really wasn't much there. In my opinion, I do think this wasn't the right decision. I do think Jeon Kim won this fight. I think she showed what she could be, right? She showed the prospect that she could grow to be. And this was a really good fight for her. And I think even though she lost this fight, this is going to be something that she can use to grow from, because she was able to just be a little more aggressive than her other fights. She just wasn't waiting as much as she normally does. She was able to just kind of put those combinations together, and she was putting them together real beautifully. Beautiful performances by both these ladies. Any final thoughts on this fight before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, no, this was a great performance. I think that both women should be proud of their performances, and with very low expectations coming in, they still impressed me very well, and I was, holy shit, Chris Colbert just got knocked down. My bad. Hold on. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Oh fuck. Okay, my bad. But yeah, overall,
The reactions are great. I love that. We need to start doing watch-alongs, by the way.
I know. We'll do, holy fuck. But yeah, no, it was a great performance, and I didn't watch I didn't see like the bonuses, but I'm pretty sure they got fired tonight at that point. Like that was a great fight.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the better fights of the night. There was some good ones on the prelims too. So
Oh,
when
yeah,
you play
for
Guess
sure.
the Bonus, at least you can you have a good pick there. Let's move on to this next fight, because man, this fight was absolutely brutal, right? Arman Tsarukyan defeating Joel Alvarez via second round TKO. He was able to split the nose towards the end of the first half, and once he got that cut right down the middle, it didn't stop gushing. And from there, it seemed like it just broke Joel from there, right? And he started to kind of crumble. Once he got some ground and pound, he was just shelling up. And Arman, looking like a top contender in this division, we saw what he did against Islam Makhachev a couple years ago in Russia. But he's starting to show that, hey, that wasn't just a one-off. This is what I am as a fighter. He's legitimately a phenomenal wrestler. He's smart with the submissions. I mean, Joel Alvarez was coming, I think, with all of his fights, or all but one of his fights, winning by finish. And I think he had 8 triangles off of his back as a win. Arman was able to neutralize that. He was able to stay on top for almost a whole round without being threatened from submission at really minimally. And I think that just shows how good and smart Arman is as a fighter from that top control. He was able to take him down not once, multiple times, and he uses his striking to set up his takedowns as well. So Arman really has the complete package when it comes to somebody that can take it to the guys at the top of the division. I mean, you place Arman against somebody like a guy like Dan Hooker, you can say, hey, maybe Arman has a path to victory here. It's obviously Dan Hooker is a very tough fighter, but he can see if he takes him down, right? The wrestling is there, and we've seen how good he is with the wrestling of every single person he's fought. He was the first guy in the UFC to take down Islam Makhachev. Arman Tsarukyan was the first guy, and I think that's a fight that we can see in the future. Arman actually declined to take the fight against Islam tonight on short notice. I think that was smart. Don't take that fight on short notice right now when you're on a streak, when you're making your name, right? Continue to develop yourself as a prospect, continue to develop your skills, work your way up, right? You don't have the same foundation and grassroots as Islam Makhachev coming from that Khabib program, but you can still work your way up. You're a phenomenal athlete, and you can work your way into becoming a contender in that division. But Arman, man, with a beautiful win. What were your thoughts on that one?
Dude, I think that he had arguably, it's hard to say, but he arguably had the most impressive performance of the night. I mean, against a guy, we were talking about it, like this could be evenly matched against a guy like Joel Alvararez, who both guys had a lot of momentum coming into this fight, and it looked very interesting. And then first round happened, and you saw how easily he was able to take Alvarez down, and how strong Arman Tsarukyan is. That man is strong. And then once he started slicing them elbows, I already knew it was a wrap. It was a wrap after that. He's so accurate with his strikes when on in the mount that he's a problem for anybody. He's a rising prospect, but he's fighting like a top contender already. So imagine when he rises up the ranks, how much better he's gonna be in that lightweight division. He might be the same as Islam, where people are gonna decline to fight him because he's a problem for anybody in that division. That wrestling is no joke. And again, we've said it, to take down Islam Makhachev, to take down, Khabib's, best friend, Khabib's main training partner, that is saying something. That is saying a lot to his skill set, his wrestling, and to where he's going to be in the future.
Yeah, man, this guy has a bright future. He's still very young. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like under 26, right?
I
Somewhere
think
around
so.
there. But man, Arman is killing it. Elder Assassin joining us really, really late. Fight Live reaction would be fun and bring awareness to your MMA vid. Recommend making a separate 5 MMA channels. A separate 5 reasons MMA channel. MMA fans like MMA stuff only for some reason. That's actually a really good idea. I think we're gonna do that, and then we'll just double post on here and on that MMA channel. But I think we might do that. Just make a combat little channel there. We'll see how that rolls. But that's a really good idea, Elder Assassin. I appreciate you joining us this late and helping continue to build the brand, man. Helping us grow this here because we're still in the budding process of the 3-piece combo MMA show, but we're still hoping to grow it as well. So thanks, Elder Assassin, for joining us. But man, like you said, Arman is definitely way on his way to becoming one of the top contenders in this division. And I think it's soon to come, man. He just has all the tools. And if people don't start ducking him like people do with Islam, he's going to get his shot, right? He's definitely going to go ahead and get it up there. Let's get on to the opener of this card. Arman Petrosian with a split decision win over Gregory Rodriguez. It was a very close fight. I'll give him that. It was a very close fight. But this was one of those fights that I thought was very interesting in how the scoring was as well. There was a couple ways that it could have been scored. What were your thoughts on this one? Did you feel like it was scored right? Did you feel the right person got the win? What were your thoughts on this one?
I don't know. I really don't, because I was also at work at this one, so it was hard to kind of really detail it. It just seemed like a really close fight in general. I don't have too much to say just because I was not able to pay attention as much, but through my preliminary look of the fight, it just seemed like no one could really get ahead of the other person in terms of momentum, in terms of game plan, and in terms of just kind of getting the upper hand in the striking exchange. Holy shit, he's about to get stopped. Holy fuck. My bad. Holy fuck. But yeah, overall, it was close. The only thing I can say is I'm glad that was the fight that I was most worried about for my predictions, and I'm glad that Arman won, because I'm 5 for 5 this for this main card, so I'm happy about that.
You absolutely killed this card, man. There was good choices by you, top to bottom, and that's just another reason why you should make sure you guys always tune into our picks and predictions show. Right? You might end up going 5 for 5 like Mr. Blanco. You could end up cashing some money in the bank, man. That could have been a really nice parlay you would have got there. But like you said, man, Arbitrosian it was a good performance. None of these guys can get an edge. It seemed like when Arman would hurt Greg would hurt Arman back, and it was just a very, very close fight. And it was just a perfect opener to a card, right? It's one of those fights that both these guys just kind of put it all on the line. They slugged it out, and it was a very fun performance. So I want to give a quick shout out to some of the prelims performance. Obviously, like I said, Terrence McKinney getting it done in the first round via submission. I said he was going to get it done by TKO, but he got it done by submission. But congratulations to him, man. Like I said before on the pre-video, one of the coolest guys in the MMA communities. He'll always reply to you, or at least, for sometimes he'll get back to you. He's always appreciative and just one of the most pure, nice guys out there. And if you watch his post-fight conference, you'll see how good he was or how good of a person he is. And Ignacio Bahamondes with a beautiful win as well, getting it done. So let's get into one of our favorite games. Let's play Guess the Bonus. So in tonight's fights, we had 2 performance bonuses, 1 fight of the night. And I'll let you go ahead and take your thoughts.
All right. So fight of the night, I think, was Yeon Kim and Priscilla Cachoeira. And bonuses. There's 2 bonuses?
2 bonuses.
All right. So I'm going to go Arman Tsarukyan for the first one. And, oh, man. I can't. I'll stay main card. I'll go Arman Tsarukyan, and I'll go the main event. I'll go Islam Makhachev on this one.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Dang, you had the chance to change it. You were very close. Arman got the performance award, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeon Kim and Priscilla Cachoeira got fight of the night. The
Yeah.
other performance bonus actually went to Wellington Turman for the
Damn
armbar.
it. I was thinking about that too.
And yeah, because he was able to pull that out of the bag, man. And I think that was a good one.
That was good.
But hey, man, any final thoughts on this card? I felt like top to bottom, this was a very fun card. Quick shout out to Johnathan Martinez with a beautiful win. Brahimaj in that first round absolutely dominated Michael Gilmore. Carlos Hernandez, Victor Almirano, they put on a phenomenal performance. That was a fun one as well. Josiane Nunez and Ramona Pascual, that was a fucking banger. That was both of the women, or the few women fights that they had tonight, they were both phenomenal. Like, they showed out and showed what women's MMA could be and how it should be, and the development of women's MMA. But overall, fun night. Any closing thoughts before we end the show?
Yeah, so this was a very entertaining fight night. Overall, Saturday, this was an entertaining fight day for Saturday. I mean, Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall happened in the daytime. That was a close fight, controversial one. Then we had this fight night, and this was one that, we were hyping up, and it kind of met our expectations in terms of each fight kind of met our expectations, and it kind of delivered on everything that we were talking about in the pre-fight show. And then right now I'm watching Chris Colbert. He might not be undefeated anymore. So overall, this was like a really good card. I can't wait for next week. Obviously, next week's going to be the biggest grudge match. So, again, it's always great to be a fight fan.
Always great to be a fight fan. There's always fun fights that are coming on. There's also some nice AEW professional wrestling matches that we're going to see as well. Elder Assassin said he's buying the next card. I am also buying the next card. Definitely going to be watching the next card and then buying the next card as well. Actually, I might actually get to meet Mr. Blanco. Johan might actually come over. We might get to watch the fights together. Hey, we might even do a post-show live together. How about that? We might actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna help him split the next card.
We're gonna split the next card in some pizza. Yeah. But yeah, definitely should be a fun one. We're gonna do a picks and prediction shows just like we did for this card. Johan actually went 5 for 5 on this card. So if you want to keep up with the picks, man, I mean, Johan's killing it right now. But next week we have one of the biggest grudge matches: Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington in the main event. We're gonna also have a couple of other really good fights. I know I'm blanking on it. Edson Barbosa is going to be fighting as well. He's one of my favorite fighters. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev. Kevin Holland, Alex Oliveira. We're going to see Bryce Mitchell. I don't know why Greg Hardy's there, but he's still there. But we're going to see a lot of fun fights in that whole card, and it's going to be a really, really good one. But overall, I want to thank everybody who's checking out this video. Of course, shout out to Elder Assassin for joining us this late in the night. Shout out to my boy Johan Blanco. Johan Blanco for joining me this late in the evening as well. And if you're checking this out post, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe. If there's anything you didn't like, drop it in the comment. That way we'll make the video a little bit better for you, or maybe we won't. Who knows? But anyways, until the next time, enjoy your night.